What's up, Group Coach Nation? I got Josselyne Herman-Saccio here today, and this is for a special reason. So let me give you a quick background of how this all came about. Josselyne runs masterminds, group coaching programs, one-on-one coaching, has been doing this for quite a while. She's extremely good at it. Somebody that I'm close with, Jennifer Hill, thank you, Jennifer Hill, for connecting us, is actually a client of Josselyne's. And Jennifer and I were talking the other day, I don't know, a month or two ago. It's like, Jennifer, we're doing a book coming out in 2026. Who would you say runs the best masterminds, group coaching programs? Like, who's the star list in your brain? And Jennifer is extremely well connected. Oh my gosh. Some of you know who Jennifer Hill is.
Yes.
Like, she's crazy connected, speaks everywhere. She was instantly, oh, you got to meet my friend Josselyne. I'm in her group. I'm like, well, if you're her client, now I'm interested. So yeah, Josselyne, thank you so much for showing up and talking to us today.
It's my pleasure. And yes, thank you, Jen. I have to thank Jen at least twice a week because I'm either on a show or someone's on my show that Jen connected me with. She is the queen of connection.
She's unbelievable. Like, it's incredible how many people she knows and how fast she can make connections happen. All right, so
yeah.
here's what Josselyne does, Coach Nation. Here's why I've asked her specifically here, not just because she's obviously awesome at it, but we want to bring you the best. Josselyne is somebody who's very focused on freedom. She helps you create the life that you want. And here's the way I'd put this. You know how you got into being an entrepreneur like 5 years ago, 15 years ago, 50 years ago for the dream that you had? And you know how that dream might not be showing up the way you were hoping it would? Yeah, that's a thing. And it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's so common. We're really good as founders at chasing certain squirrels, we'll call them, in the yard. But often we're not chasing the right squirrel, or maybe the squirrel isn't why we got into business to begin with. And I love talking to somebody who's good at helping us parse that apart and say, okay, what's the real purpose? Are you achieving that? If not, what's the plan? So we will get there. But first, let's kind of crack the hood open and look at the engine of what makes Josselyne's group really work. So Josselyne, take this wherever you want. We got like 20, 25 minutes. Like, let's just make this however you want to go with it. But I would love to know, first of all, why did you get into group coaching that you're doing? Like, what's the backstory? What was the aha moment?
Sure. I'll give you the Cliff Note version because it's a very long story. It's almost 47 years that I've been in the world of transformative coaching, and I've been coaching people for almost 40 years. So, you know, I was a teenager when I started studying to be a coach. And I was like youngest seminar leader at Landmark, which was is an international coaching company. And I led programs for them for 30 years. I designed programs for them. I trained their leaders. And I left a few years ago to move to Paris and follow my dream and, you know, kind of fulfill my someday dream. And I also had an entertainment company. So I was an entrepreneur for, 30 years. And what I saw with all the people that I coached in the programs that I led, which was thousands and a couple 100,000 people I've coached, it was that people who were very successful ended up in the prison of their own creation. So anybody who's listening that's a founder or an entrepreneur, you probably can relate to this because you start your company with a vision and you're excited and there's magic and you're succeeding and failing and you don't even care. It's just, magic. And then at some point, your business turns into a thing that needs to be managed and has to survive. And that's when the magic goes away. And a lot of the people that I work with are obviously founders, entrepreneurs, and they're successful, but not fulfilled. So I work with them to bring that magic back, to bring back the magic of why they even got started in the first place, which is not necessarily about that company. There's a vision that's bigger than the company. And when I ask people what their vision is, I always start with vision. Then a lot of times people give me goals, and that's different than vision. And we fall into, by default, setting goals for this year or next 5 years or the next 10 years. And then we're stuck looking down at the metrics versus looking up and out at the space that we want for our life. So I work with people to revivify or invent newly a vision that can serve as a context for the work that they're doing. And sometimes people end up not doing what they're doing. They end up doing something else, but bring life back to their life and their business. So a lot of the work that I do is focused on shifting from that world of survival and reaction and getting stuff done and being productive and successful to shifting over to the world of vision and creation while you're being successful and getting stuff done, but the focus is different.
Hmm. That's really powerful. That is extremely valuable. I used to think, I don't know about you, Josselyne, I probably not for you. I used to think all this mindset stuff and focus on vision, and I thought, oh, it's a bunch of corporate crap. We all grew up in the corporate space, and it's just get away from me. But take that, if anybody else out there is like me and you thought that, take that out of your head. The past 7 or 8 years, I've truly embraced the stuff you teach about and the stuff you lead about, Josselyne. It is truly so much easier to succeed this way. Like,
Well, and
I'm so glad you're
also
doing this.
love what you do. I mean,
Yeah.
because listen, there was a time I was working 80 hours a week.
Mhm.
80 hours a week. That's insane. I mean, I wasn't sleeping, my blood pressure, I was sent to the hospital, into the ER with high blood pressure
Mhm.
because of how hard I now was I effective? Absolutely. Was I successful? Yes, absolutely. But I was killing myself. And for myself, I learned when I left Landmark and started designing my coaching business, I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. So now I work 15 hours a week and I've like 6x'd what I made. So I make so much more and I have so much more free time to do the things that I want to do, like create and travel and, be with my husband and family and spend 6 months in Paris. And, so there's a world that we keep, I know you hear the
I was
Paris
gonna
side.
say, that's proof you're in Paris right now. That siren is like, yeah, that.
I know I play Paris sounds, Um, but it really is like, you can live the life of your dreams now, not someday. I'm convinced of it because I've lived it and I've proven it.
Mhm.
So that's what I coach people to do, because if I can do it, anybody could do it.
Yeah.
So, you
Oh,
don't have to wait till you retire.
you're a dream smasher, by the way. You crush these. Like, you're awesome. Like, you go get them. I love that. By the way, if you're watching, or if you're listening on the screen right now, for those of you watching, her website's up on the screen. So Jocelyn's website is Unmessable. I love that. Unmessable with is her brand, and Unmessable with gift, gift.com is the website to go to. She has so much cool stuff on there. You can just grab and go and figure out who she is, how to get your mindset straight, how to start actually thinking the right way and seeing your goals and getting back on track the way you want to be. All there. Unmessable with gift.com. For those of you listening, there you go.
And that'll bring you straight to like a free download of how to instantly reset from reaction and survival to creation and vision. So
Hmm.
it's a quick little, taste of the kind of work that I do. But there's tons of stuff on the website, but that specifically will be, a process that you can do for yourself.
Freaking love it. Thank you. By the way, fun fact, y'all know Whitney Houston. I will always love you. Jocelyn and her pop group in 1993 bumped Whitney Houston off of #1 in the top 40 charts. That is so
And
freaking
that
cool.
was a dream fulfilled. And that's when I really got committed to people living their dreams, because I had this blind spot, Chris. I had a belief, and we all have limiting beliefs. We don't think they're beliefs, we think they're the truth. That's why they're limiting. If we knew they were beliefs, they would not stop us. But I had a limiting belief that you couldn't do your art as your career. And my whole life I wanted to be a singer, but I was like, you can't do your art as your career. And then I was in a transformative program myself in my early 20s, and I saw that was a belief. And within 3 months, I had a record deal. And
Oh,
that
wow.
record went to #1 within 3 months, because all that happened was that lens disappeared and became what it was, which was a belief, not the truth. And I started taking actions because, as you know, high performance is about action,
Yeah.
not and inaction. What you don't do produces results too. And I just started taking actions, and within 3 months, signed a record deal. We recorded the album, and that record knocked Whitney Houston out of that #1 spot. It's ridiculous. That's crazy dream come true kind of stuff in very fast time.
Really is. Did Whitney Houston send you flowers or anything?
No, but I remember meeting her at a Grammy party at like Clive Davis used to have this night before the Grammys party. And she was pregnant at the time. Because if you remember, she recorded that video and she was pregnant and, you know, the whole thing. And I remember like avoiding her completely because I was like, I don't want to
I'm so
meet her and be
sorry.
like, I mean, she was #1 for like 14 weeks in a row. So, you know, she had her moment with that song.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite songs.
And everybody's hero. I mean, like, she's like, yeah, I'm really glad I got that, but I'm really sorry that. So
Yeah,
funny.
exactly. But it was a dream come true. And then being able to travel around the world, and we were #1 in Canada, Japan. I mean, it was magical. And that's, I think people don't act on their dreams because they don't see a pathway towards it, you know? And it's a shame because so many people die with their dreams intact. 94% of people never fulfill their dreams. That's
Wow.
absurd. And so in my early 20s, I just got real committed. When that happened, I said, that's it. I'm going to make sure that that's what I do with people is I empower them to fulfill their dreams, not chase them, but live them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. How have you built your group coaching program that Jen's in, like Jennifer Hill? How have you built that thing? Like when you got started, when there was zero group, and you're like, I'm going to invite people to a group. I hope that works.
Well,
How'd you do it?
actually, it wasn't even that. I took 3 months off and I was just like, I'm going to do nothing. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take 3 months off. So my
When is
daughter
this?
got
How long
married.
ago
I
is it?
went to, this is 2022, the end of 2022.
Great. A couple years ago. Cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, not long ago. And so I spent a month in Paris, of course, because that's what I do. It's like it's my, and since I was 16, that was my dream to live here someday, right? So I spent a month there. I went to Hawaii to a stock trading course. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. Maybe I'll write a book. I saw Jen in Portugal. And then I said, you know what? I design courses. That's what I do. I want to design a course. So I designed a 6-week course called The Foundation for Being Unmessable With, which I still have as my evergreen course that I could offer people. And and 80 people registered in it, like right away. I was like, okay. So I did this course. And then I was like, well, I can't just leave them at the end of the course. Like, I'll do some group coaching for people who wanted to. So I started a group coaching thing just to take care of the people in the course. And I had a couple of groups that January. And then I was like, okay, and people were calling me for one-on-one. And my one-on-one practice, as you might know, it gets big quick. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be on 90 million calls all
It
the
takes
time.
over your life.
So
Yeah.
it really does. And I love my clients, but it's a lot of
Mhm.
calls. So I said, okay, how can I take the highest performing one-on-one people and put them in a high level group that's designed to have you master the world of performance in action and inaction, the world of creation, like being able to pivot from reaction to creation, and the world of freedom. Like, how do you be free from the prison of your own creation and work less, make more money? So I designed a mastery group for a year long that is for entrepreneurs and founders who want to minimally double their business, but work less. And that's how I started it. And I did it last year for the first year. I invited all my, like highest level group coaching, regular group coaching, and then also the one-on-ones, and then a few people that I just love and want to spend a year with. And I said, you want to do this? And so we filled up, we had like 17 people or something. And then as I was designing that through the year, I thought, well, maybe I'll just add a couple people next year. But then I realized I have all these people that want to do it. Okay, fine. And it was working. People 10x their income. People were working less. I was like, oh my God, this is like, and I was building it as I was sailing the boat. I didn't have it all designed before I designed it a week at a time, and they loved it. So then, 15 of them moved to the next. I made up a new thing. Okay, now we're going to do Mastery Elite. I'm making it up so the whole thing has been very organic. And then I filled the next mastery with Jen and another 15 people. And so now I have these 2 mastery groups. And now I'm looking next year, and I started designing the 3rd level, which is Mastery Ninja. So I'll move people up to that and start a new, but that's it. I'm going to do 3 groups. That's it. I'm not going to do more than 3 high level groups at a time. I'm going to do less regular group coaching next year so that I can make room for the mastery groups, because I love it. I love being able to free people from that, what they end up in by default.
Mhm.
We just end up working hard and successful, but it's like, at what cost?
Yeah, it costs you everything else. It does. Okay, so I love that you're building this ship while you're sailing it. We love that. I love that principle. Like, just go for it, folks. How did you said you're like, I'm a week ahead of them building the next thing. What were you doing to understand, okay, here's what I need to be building for next week?
I was looking at what I discovered for myself in the year and a half since I had left my 80-hour a week life. I was like, well, what have I implemented that allowed me to design my weeks this way and 6x the income? Like, what did I do? And now let me give that away.
Mm,
And that's basically what I did. Plus, I have 47 years of experience in creating distinctions and designing curriculum. So designing was never, and coaching is never a problem because that's like my heart. That's what that's like the most natural thing in the whole world for me. So the coaching calls, and the great thing about the mastery program is it's a hybrid. So we have 3 in-person events. So those take the most design, right? And then I have a one-on-one call with everybody once a month. And then I have 2 group calls. So it's like group coaching. I have guest speakers. I have the in-person. I have like a little bit of everything. And so when I first set out to create the program, I made a list of all the distinctions that I used myself to design what I was living. And then more stuff came out of it as we were going along the way. I would be on a call and something would come and I'd say, okay, fine. Now I'm going to include that. So now I have sort of a template for the for Jen's mastery. I have a roadmap, but it's still evolving. I mean, because all sorts of stuff, as anybody who's mastered anything and spent 10,000 hours doing it, you're always learning the next aspect of
yeah.
it. So it's
You s
never a done deal.
yeah,
Mountain
when you
with no
stop
top.
doing that. Okay. So we don't have canned questions here, by the way. I'm just thinking through what you're
Yeah,
saying.
no, we're just talking.
What's the best thing that you believe you've done for the groups you're running now, past couple of years? Like, this is by far, like, for people who are like, I got my one-on-ones going, time overwhelmed, I'm successful, but oh my gosh, it's a lot. What's the best thing you've done for you as a coach to build the thing you've built? Best awareness, whatever you want to go with that. And then the flip side of that is, what's the worst thing that you've done? You'd tell people like, freaking stay away from this ditch in the road.
Yeah. Well, at first I was saying I'll start with the worst. The worst thing is I was saying yes to almost everything because I was building, my business. And I think that's something that happens for people. They don't want to miss an opportunity. So they just say yes. And I had said yes to somebody who I really love and respect. And she wanted me to do a coach's training program. So I did it for the first year. I only had like 4 or 5 people and it was fine. It was great, training coaches. And then I was going to amp it up. She wanted me to like amp it up and have like 30 people, right? And I said yes. And I started actually designing it and looking at the schedule of it. And I had to revoke my word because it wasn't consistent with what I was building. My vision is freedom and fulfillment. It's not making X amount of money. It's like making X amount of money is great, but that's a goal inside of my vision of freedom and fulfillment. And I started to see the things that were now going to be inconsistent with my vision.
Hmm.
So the mistake I think people make is saying yes to things without testing it against your vision, like, really having a way to true yourself up. And when you're not clear on your vision, you can't true yourself up because all you're measuring against is like metrics like money,
Mhm.
and that's dangerous. So, I really look from the best thing I've done is stand a year out and backwards plan. Like, what do I want my life to look like? And that's what
Ooh,
I do with my clients. I say, what do you want what do you want your week to look like? Do you want to not work on Fridays? You want to stop at 6 o'clock? You want to start at 11 o'clock? What is it that you'd want your week to look? You want to take June off? What is it you want? Now let's backwards plan the whole thing, because what'll get illuminated, and this is what happens for people in the program, what happened for me, is you'll start to see the people that are missing on your team and the systems that are missing in your company to allow you to automate, systematize, delegate. Most founders are horrible at all of that stuff. So, how you got to be a founder, you did everything, and you
yeah.
kind of you're the bottleneck of your own business. So getting people to let go, like to release so that they can grow, is one of the things I'm really proud of has happened for everybody in the program is they've built teams around them and they've become more profitable with less work. So, I mean, I have a lawyer and her partner, they were working 1 million hours a week. Now they don't work on the weekends. And they're a couple, and they have family time at night, and they've, 3x their income. They went from, in private coaching, she went from 300,000 to 1 million the first year that I worked with her. And then they did the mastery program. They went from 1 million to 3 million. And now they're on track for 5 million this year. So it's like, you can't argue with results.
Clarity. You bring clarity to people. That is so cool. Well done, you.
Well, it's a real joy. It's like my life. I'm doing my art as my career,
I think that's really cool. Yeah. I think it's cool too that you've not just taken your art into a career, been successful, and then, I mean, because you could create more freedom for yourself by pulling everything in and saying, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate.
Believe me, I have those thoughts sometimes. I'm like, am I? And then I have the opposite thoughts. It's like, oh, should I do 3 more groups, or should I do, 5 group coachings this, do one on Thursdays and one on Tuesdays and one on, and it's like, you get addicted to results.
Yeah.
So I have to constantly be truing myself up to, okay, what am I creating? Not how am I going to react? Because most people that are successful are good reactors. They have to be. You react to opportunities, you react to fires that you have to put out. And that's a very different muscle than the muscle of creation and vision. So it takes discipline to honor what you're creating with your word, not with your impulses, or your thoughts, or your feelings, or what's not working. Let me fix it and I'll do that. No, it's like, what are you creating from nothing? And that's a lot of the work that I do with people, is having them get good at getting to nothing, which people suck at because they're always dealing with something. So how do you get to nothing so that you can honestly create? You can't create on top of something. That's all just more, better, different versions of what you already have. You can only truly create from nothing, and getting to nothing is a big part of the work that I do with people.
Wow. I want to leave it at that. Unmessable with is Josselyne's brand, and unmessablewithgift.com. Go there and get some clarity, folks. I don't know what else to say. Go there and get some clarity. Free for you. Get some clarity. Reach out to Josselyne, by the way. Her like handles for all the socials, all the places you can communicate with her are all on her website. Josselyne, thanks.
My honor. Thank you for the opportunity.
The Group Coach Nation, we always say this: do work, get results. Just do the right work. And I think Josselyne is saying that over and over and over again. Yeah, you gotta execute. That's what we do to succeed. But freaking do the right work, not the stuff that's just a hustle. All right. Unmessablewithgift.com. Josselyne, thank you. Truly. Thank you. I've learned a lot. This is one of those episodes I'll go back and re-listen to, because you've dropped some serious wisdom in there. It's like, oh, wait, I need to rethink that. That's really great. Thanks.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Y'all know what to do. As always, do work, get results. Just please do the right work. And if you need clarity around the stuff we're talking about today, go to her website, unmessablewithgift.com. Also, just check out what she's doing. She's built a really cool group coaching program model. Like, go check out what she's doing. She's a real person. Talk soon, everybody.